Alright, another sermon before I start the day today. So I had a number of situations that really taught me that we really live in a cult, right? As much as we love to believe we are free here in the United States, we're really only free from the top down, right? Amongst each other, if you don't conform, you run into a lot of barriers in your everyday social life, right? And I thought I would highlight a couple examples I've noticed in recent times. So, I have been doing intermittent fasting quite regularly since January of 2020. I am happily single. Though those issues really don't conform to my social group, right? Now, a lot of times people mercilessly tease me about my intermittent fasting. Either people who want to push food on me, or the people who are okay with me fasting, they still ask a lot of questions about it, stares about it. Now, fasting is a little bit better than refusing very specific foods, right? For some reason, if you refuse a particular food, oh my god, the teasing will not end, right? With fasting, at least you can kind of push through it. Okay. So I was living in Phoenix, Arizona for a number of months. You guys have seen my videos there. And I did a lot of fasting when I was there. It's a lot easier to fast in warmer climates like that, especially drier climates, right? I was living with housemates, and every day I seemed to have to explain to somebody about my fasting. It didn't get very heated, but I did have to explain. Now, one time I had another event that didn't require a lot of explaining. So I was just about to break my fast. I think it might have been a 24 or a 36-hour fast. When I get to our shared kitchen, and there's no eating utensils, and I had to go out to go buy a set. Okay, break my fast. That's nice. I like to think positively. It forced me to add an extra half an hour to the fast. That was good. I ate. I went to sleep or whatever. And then I went on another fast of 24 or so hours, like I did when I was in Phoenix. I went out to get my favorite food. And so the pack of utensils I bought had 2 spoons and 2 forks and 2 knives. And for some reason, the 2 forks were missing. I knew I only used 1 to eat the night before, and I thought I had cleaned it. I looked at the kitchen sink, it wasn't there. I looked at all the places where I might have put it, it wasn't there. I didn't think much of it. I thought I made a mistake. And I went out to get another set. I ate, and this time I made sure to find somewhere to put it. I went to do something, and the following day, I look at the utensils, and to my dismay, I don't think I saw all the pieces, and sure enough, it was the forks that were missing. So now I knew I didn't make a mistake. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, when I'm in a fasted state like that, I tend to think much more objectively. So before I ate that night, I decided to think about how to talk to my housemates about this. And I decided to start by asking, you know, did you see any forks here? I just gotten 2 sets. And if they gave me a funny response, maybe I should then bring up that I have because they know that I love intermittent fasting. I could probably then bring up the fact that, you know, this is the kind of stuff that used to give me a lot of trouble, and this is why I've been doing fasting to normalize my relationship with food. So I talked to one of my housemates. He's an EMT, and I thought he's very well-to-do. He's not going to get angry or defensive about it. After all, he deals with high-stress events probably all the time, right? He's probably dealt with somebody who's dying of COVID, can't have a family member come over. And so I thought he's a good candidate for sitting down and talking to him about my past eating disorder. So I asked him if he had seen the forks, and he tells me that he has a box of disposable utensils that I can use. And he shows me this box that has 100 pieces of spoons, forks, and knives. And we open the box, and to the dismay of both of us, We see a lot of spoons and knives, but all the forks are missing. And so now we think maybe one of our other roommates is teasing us. So the following day, I go out to Target and I buy, I think, about 20 or so forks, just to let him have it. The other roommate, because the other roommate, I didn't want to mess with him. This EMT I could actually sit down to talk to. And I sit down to talk to him and explain that many years ago, or actually only 2 years ago, I used to have a compulsive eating problem. And I'm very fortunate that I'm living here in 2021 and not 2019 when I used to have a compulsive eating problem. Because I would get ready to eat, the forks are not available, and that's the time when I would want to destroy the house. I was talking to the EMT about it. And he felt very sorry for me about that. See, he didn't feel sorry for me when I was trying to fast and people were pushing food on me, right? He felt very sorry about that. And what was really funny was after I told him, the very next day, all of the forks just reappeared in the house. The 4 that had disappeared and the 20 that I had bought the day previous, they were all there. And I have a feeling that the EMT guy, he misplaced them. He took them to his office to eat, and he forgot to bring them home. And when he heard the story of where I had been 2 years ago, he felt it was in his heart to bring them back home. So that's good. But he didn't feel it was in his heart when I was fasting, though. It just goes to show that you conform or you're out, right? Yes, in the United States, we're free from the top down, but we're not free from each other, right? Okay, now fast forward 4 months later, now I'm back home in Seattle because I want to work in person. I really love the social connectivity, but I find it very hard to ask for time off for various things, right? So this month, there are 2 things that I want to ask for time off, and they don't conform at all to anybody. This November 19th, there's a lunar eclipse, and I'll probably have to take time away from Seattle because very cloudy skies in Seattle. I'll probably go to either Ellensburg or Vantage, Washington to view this, or maybe even Yakima. I never seem to have trouble with stargazing events over there. Okay, and also I during Thanksgiving or Christmas, I may think about seeing a friend that I made over in Phoenix. You see, after I left Phoenix, I really felt a big hole in my heart. I've never felt that way about anybody else that I've met anywhere during my travels. And I've met people much further away than Phoenix, right? And I was thinking about talking to my work about seeing if I could get time off for this. So I started by asking my boss what days our center is closed during the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays, and I took a look, and I thought about asking if I could take another day or 2 off, but I lost it, and I thought, okay. And I went online to look at flights, hotels. I didn't think that was reasonable. Now the lunar eclipse, I have to work the day before that. I could think about asking for that, but the lunar eclipse is not a family member, it's not children, it's not even a fun trip, right, to Las Vegas or Disneyland. You know, I was just reading a news article about people who have been quarantined at Disneyland for a week, 2 weeks. So for some people, that seems like a dream, right? For me, not really. I'd much rather be quarantined in Ellensburg where there are clear skies to view the night sky, right? Even if there's not a lunar eclipse every night, there's always something to view, right? But people cannot relate to that, right? And again, you conform or you're out, right? Obviously, it doesn't come from the top down, but from each other, you either conform or you're out. And I hope we could change that cancel culture kind of mentality, right?